Hey yo, peep this.
Yeah. This is how we like to do it.
God's gift from above the skies.
No lie.
Tune into the buzz while you get high.
The hitter. Spread some wisdom so you can relate on topics of every kind to elevate your mind.
Listen, Mary Jane is not a drug. There's so much love in every nug.
New strains, they'll be the judge and see what it does. It's between the buds.
Watch this. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It's your boy Joe Derrick. I'm actually here, one of your hosts of Between the Buzz. Got a special episode today and a special guest today. She's got many nicknames and names, but Lauren Morgan, she's a policy advisor for the state of Ohio. And she's also got some other cool nicknames that we'll get to. But she's got a lot of knowledge and information I think, everyone should hear. The world, not just Ohio, but just in general, society. Dope perspective on things, and, excited to have her on the show. And, I'll let her further introduce herself, but, we got some good content coming and information coming your way. So stay tuned. But Lauren, I'm sorry.
Nah.
I'll let you further introduce yourself.
Hey y'all, my name is Lauren Morgan, aka if you on my platform, the Elephant in the Room.
Hey, make sure you follow and subscribe.
Follow the Elephant in the Room, THEE, capital LOPHANT in the room.
Hey.
On TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, whatever you choose. But like he said, my name is Lauren, and I'm here to talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. And speaking of a room, we are in a different room. So shout out to Awsom Studios, because we decided to switch up the room on y'all.
Okay. I like get a little different flow.
Yeah, you got your own little special set and different.
Let's get into it.
But is there anything that you would like to say before we begin?
I want to thank you so much for having me.
Oh, okay.
I want to thank you so much for having me.
No doubt. Yeah,
I'm happy to be here. Let's talk. Let's get into what the things.
I know that it's been a journey to make it happen. So I appreciate you too for taking the time out and out of your busy schedule and making this happen. But let's talk about it. As far as what I even told the people where you were, a policy advisor. Would you kind of just simply explain that?
Yeah. So, I work for the state of Ohio. I'm a policy advisor with the Ohio House of Representatives. So what I do is I analyze the bill text of what's introduced, what may be in the committees and whatnot.
Right.
Be able to provide information for I work for the Minority Caucus. And so, for those representatives, be able to provide for them some insight. I talk to stakeholders. I say, what do the people think? What are happening in other states?
Right.
And so I'm able to provide hopefully a well-rounded perspective on what these things are, because I think that a lot of our reps got a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They in every place.
Yeah.
They want to be at every event.
Right.
They want to read everything.
Yeah.
And while they do, the policy advisors are there for that specific duty to go ahead and read it and let you know, all right, this is right, this is maybe wrong in my opinion.
Right.
And then that allows you to
have
go
that discussion.
Yeah, we can talk about it.
Yeah, and that's actually pretty dope, because you're kind of like that brain trust or whatever word you want to kind of call it, just in a sense of hey, this I've read it, I've overlooked it, and this is what I've come to. But you feel free, you double check it. We can bounce. You can bounce off.
We can have a conversation. For me personally, I don't want it. I'm not the expert. I don't act like I am, but I'm one of those people where I'm gonna come with my perspective, my lived experience. I think I'm very big on lived experience.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm 26 and I'm from Cleveland.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Somebody that's 46 from Cincinnati might have a different perspective. We can talk about it. You know what I'm saying? I work with people that have been in law enforcement, that didn't had no job, and they had this job in tech.
Yeah.
And so we can come together and say, oh, this might be really bad. Or actually, as a black woman, this is bad. You know what I'm saying? And so I come with the minority perspective. I'm black first, and so I come with the black lived experience, and to be able to say, this might be, it might negatively impact us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm proud to have that.
Right. Nah, I respect that, and kudos for embracing that, and not being shy. You're just standing with I'm black and I'm proud.
I'm black and I'm black.
Nah, fuck. Excuse my language. Sometimes some might slip out. It might slip out, but it's alright. It's part of my expression.
Yeah. So your lived experience.
Yeah, that's part of it. There you go. Yeah, exactly. That's part of my. And you ain't lying, because part of my lived experience. I heard a lot of curse words, but I love my family.
Exactly. I do too.
But they taught me a lot. But no, speaking of, prior to getting into the House of Representatives, what were you involved in? Like I've heard about this fellowship program. Were you able to briefly describe that kind of?
Right. Okay. So before I was fully employed by the House, I was a fellow with the Legislative Service Commission. There's a fellowship there.
Yeah.
And so I graduated from Central State University. Shout out to my HBCU.
Hey, shout out to the HBCU.
So I graduated. Right, and all the other ones. I graduated from HBCU. I moved to Columbus.
Yeah.
I was, gratefully accepted to a fellowship program. But it's a 13-month program. And it was honestly my foot in the door. I don't know, to be honest, how I may have got immersed in politics if it wasn't for the program. And so what the program is, it allows you to come in and to see, what the state reps or the state senators have going on. You might get paired with someone. And then from there, they have, I call them field trips, but they're seminars. And they take you to other state, agencies and things like that, so you can see if you don't want to do this, you can do this, or you can do this, or you can do this.
The different avenues to it.
And I found value in that because as a black person, I didn't even know I can get here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so to know that not only I can get here, but there's a whole host of other opportunities.
Yeah, further, just levels that you can take it further.
Exactly.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
See, well, a lot of us don't get a chance to know or see that there's other opportunities out there unless you kind of get that lived experience you spoke on, which is kind of necessary in so many ways, and you got to earn it by just stripes you do before. So kudos for laying down the track to get where you are and continue rising. Salute to all the people. I'm sure you've had a lot of mentors, or actually, one I could think of, Miss Juanita Brent. Shout out to her. I know she's probably helped you out, but she has spoken on just in general how you kind of gotta you gotta experience and put in the work in so many other ways before you can kind of get to where you're trying to go. And
definitely. Yeah, I think that all of the black reps have been very influential to me.
Yeah.
Rep Brent definitely has been very helpful to me. She's, I just love her. But there's another rep who within the fellowship I was placed with, but assistant minority leader Dontavia Gerald.
Shout out to him.
Shout out to Rep Gerald.
Hey, I know him.
That's my dog for sure. I really, really love and appreciate him and his mentorship and just allowing me to just see, how he's from Cleveland as well.
Yeah.
How to navigate this space. You know what I'm saying? Being young, black, and powerful.
Correct.
And to understand your power and not dim your light.
Yeah.
But to know how to go into these rooms. And so for that, I'm always grateful.
Nah, and that's awesome, because that can be a challenge when you go to some of these rooms and you're not always either welcomed or just a lot. What do you call it? It's not a lot of us.
I've been in a lot of rooms where I've been in rooms with him where it was just him, and so I'm his plus one.
Yeah.
So it's just two of us in this room.
Damn.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah.
Nah, that is a lot. But kudos to you both for knowing how to, ride those waves in those rooms and rise above the energy, such as said. But no, so when you're not at the StateHouse, what else would you say you would? And part of me is we just gonna kind of go backwards in your life and get to introduce you to the people. And then we'll obviously move forward with some hot topics that's on everybody's mind. But yeah, so obviously you're involved in the political side of things, but when you're not, if you get time off, is there do you have things you enjoy to do?
I mean, like, I enjoy hanging out with like family and friends. Personally, I'm an artist, and so I do a little bit of painting on the side. Picasso
she painted the wall on the side.
I might send a picture so y'all get a little Photoshop in here.
Yeah.
But I definitely paint. I like to cook.
Whoa, that's rare. You said you like to cook.
I like to cook.
That's what's up.
I definitely.
Hold up, you gotta, that's a lost art. I feel
Look, Chef Low.
Chef Low, that's right. That was coming up. Chef Low, that's the nickname.
Yeah.
Chef Low, I did discover that. So where'd that come from?
For me, and it's like people make fun of me because, like me personally, I put low on anything.
Yeah, I think that's why I said it earlier.
I put low on a lot.
You got the wordplay with the low. I gotta give you that.
Come on, because it's the low down. We got Picasso low because I be painting.
Okay, the low.
We got Chef low
Picasso
because I be cooking. And just like anything that I can give, like I call myself a low of all trades. I have a jack of all trades.
Yeah,
I feel like I can do a lot. Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
I respect that.
Yeah.
Embrace your abilities and power. And why not?
If God didn't bless me with some talents, I think that I would be doing everyone a disservice if I didn't try.
Correct.
So I'm gonna try.
I mean, believe it or not, I know he's going through his stages, but at one point, Kanye said at least, giving up is way harder than trying.
It is.
So, you got to keep trying.
You got to keep trying.
And just keep one foot in front of another.
Yeah.
So, kudos for that. But that's awesome. You got that wordplay. I said that earlier, that low. I was like, man, you know how to use the low and, like, just Picasso low and Chef low. All right, I'll give it
I'll
to
put
you.
a low everywhere because we getting a low now.
You're an artist. I give you that. But no, that's awesome. So, have you traveled anywhere? Do you like to travel anywhere?
I do like to travel. I'm trying to travel more. In like the last couple of years, I traveled to Jamaica. My dad is Jamaican, so I didn't travel to the fatherland a few times.
I gotta go.
So you would enjoy it.
Yeah, I just got my passport. She said you would
enjoy it to say the least.
Between the buds.
Yeah, you would enjoy it to say the least. Yeah.
I'm gonna get out there soon, though, I swear. But that's what's up. No, the culture out there here is unbelievable. So
it is, and I think it speaks to something to see a group of just like black people. You see nothing but black people out there.
Yeah.
Even if they don't identify as the type of black person that you are,
yeah.
It's just very beautiful to see nothing but melanin. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Hey, you gotta live, love, you're black. So, you got a degree in political science and a minor in Spanish, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. What made you become so, what do you call it, versed in, both obviously the political side, but then now you're bilingual? So
I'm trying to be bilingual.
Oh, okay. All right.
Espanol un poco. I mean, honestly, with that, un poco, just a little bit. I'm trying to get more into that.
All right.
Just because if we want to be prepared for, we have a lot of immigrant brothers and sisters coming over. They don't speak this language.
Very language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I want to learn sign language because I know a lot of folks that they can't even speak what we got going on, and they're from here.
Correct.
And so I just honestly, I plan to become an attorney in the next couple of years, and so I want to be able to serve our brothers and sisters in every walk of life. You know what I'm saying, and not just kind of just say only American folks or people that speak English. Yeah. And so I wanted to pick up another language and just be intentional about that.
Yeah.
But with political science, I've always had an interest in politics. Shout out to my dad.
Hey,
my dad, we talk a lot about politics. He still to this day, that's who I chop it up with a lot about politics. And so from there, I realized, not to say that's what won the world, but we now are seeing it's really is what's winning the world. Yeah,
I mean, you got a very valid point on that, because now it's if you don't know what's going on, you can kind of be very lost in a lot of things. So you need to know local and now national.
You got to get into it. You really have to, because for real, what I always tell people, if you don't do politics, and I'm not the first to say this by any means, but if you don't do politics is gonna do you. Period.
You hear that?
Politics is going to do you. And what I told people, even when I was in high school and college, people were like, why should I care about politics? Let's think about it. You get a bag of chips. 25 cents, 50 cents, $1, $1.25, whatever.
4 for $1, man.
4 for $1. But do you think of the air that's in the bag of those chips?
Man.
And I think over the years, we can all agree.
It's gotten more.
It's a lot more air than chips.
It's like an airhead.
It's a lot more air than chips.
It's like an expansion of air, I should say, in like areas. It's I don't know, it's just crazy because I was just talking about that on like one of my last shows. Like, me and my sister used to get 4 for $1.
Mm-hmm.
Now you get 2. You lucky if you get 2 at some place.
You lucky.
And but like you said, like literally, you get half the bag.
This much chips.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the air's in the bag. And the whole point that I have in that is, if you don't think that politics or the law is regulating anything, the amount of air that's in the bag of chips that you have,
is it law?
It's regulated. Because trust and believe, these corporate companies are trying to get less out of their products. For more. And they're trying to get more out of us. And so it's just really interesting to know that. I think that if, we had been here for 20 plus years to talk about maybe the amount of chips that we got in that bag.
Right.
It's way less than what we're getting now.
See, and it, like you're right, the chips keep getting smaller.
Yeah. Just
like, damn. And in so many ways, that could be like what do you call it? I can't even say the word right now. A triple entendre or double entendre in the sense of the economy. Like, people are struggling.
People are struggling.
Really struggling.
People are struggling, and they elected a president that said that they were going to come and they were going to fix the economy. That person said that they were going to lower the price of eggs, milk, gasoline, X, Y, and Z. And this is the same president that just came out and said that they might not add any tax to millionaires and billionaires because they said that they will leave the country. But we are paying taxes. You know what I'm saying? I didn't get any tax return back. Yeah. I had to pay the state back, and they garnished my stuff because of that, and it's okay. Shout out to y'all. Yeah. But it's just the point of there's millionaires and billionaires that are not paying into anything. But we have the federal government contemplating cutting Medicaid. Right. And Medicaid in the state of Ohio alone, if they were to upset anything, would cut health care for 800,000 people.
Damn, that's almost 1 million people.
Come on.
Damn. And that's a lot of people that I know that are raised by food stamps and Medicaid. So, even my damn stuff at one point. So,
and we got to talk about those things because I think that a lot of us, and it's no shade to it, I don't think that we were raised to be in the process as much, you know, but we can go to these committee hearings. Yeah. We can talk at the first hearing. We can listen to them. You know what I'm saying? If when there's opponent hearing, which means that you're against the bill, we can come with our lived experience and say, this would really negatively impact me.
So, like, speaking on what you just mentioned, committee hearings, like how do you get someone to either, like, one, I guess, be aware of when a committee hearing is, or to even be brave enough to come and speak, I guess. Because, I mean, it takes a lot.
It does take a lot. It does. I'm going to start off by saying that, although I do work for the state, all I'm saying is public record, public knowledge, and you can go on the website and see it. And so I want to instruct y'all as if I was a private citizen. Because I want to talk as if I'm a private citizen. So I'm speaking as low. Yeah. You can go, shout out low, on the Ohio House of Representatives website. Mm-hmm. And there is supposed to be a notice. We get a notice as staff maybe the week prior, but I follow people that see when they can come and speak and testify. Right. And when it comes as feeling as though you're qualified or all these different things, I really want to say, come and speak your truth. You know what I'm saying? It's very buttoned up in the StateHouse, but that doesn't mean that that's not where we're supposed to be at. Right. I tell a lot of people the first time I entered into the StateHouse, I knew for a fact that I wasn't welcome there. Right. Not because of the people that were currently there, but when you talk about the people that built that place, you know what I'm saying? Let's talk about like that type of stuff. Yeah. If we going back to when Ohio was first built, I might not have been the person they were trying to get, you know what I'm saying, to come and work. Yeah. I was maybe supposed to be servicing them.
Damn.
And so I think that I'm trying to empower anybody that has breath and legs to walk.
Wow.
It's time.
Yeah.
It's really time. And I'm looking at everybody. It's time.
As a human race. Yeah.
If you have breath and you have the feet to walk, get up in there.
Yeah.
If you've never been in the Ohio StateHouse, go and just see.
That brings me another quick question, not to interrupt, just like far as like, not to sound like church, they say come as you are, but like,
let's talk about it.
It can't, like, is there a real dress code for the StateHouse?
There is a dress code. I would say.
You just say you don't own you can have like a nice casual. What if you don't own a suit?
If you don't own a suit and you can get a polo style shirt, if you can get a white button down shirt, put that on. As far as tops, let's go top to bottom.
Yeah.
Don't wear a hat. Wear your hat. Yeah. Be ready to take it off.
All right.
You know what I'm saying?
Take that hat off.
Your shirt. White button-down shirt. If not, just a polo style shirt, something with a collar.
Yeah.
That's what they're looking at.
Okay.
And then go down to your trousers or your pants.
Yeah.
Black pants. If you don't have that, don't worry about no khakis or no blue. If you got black pants, just wear that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then shoes, ain't nobody going to stop you from your shoes. Yeah. Honestly, no one can stop you from your pants. If you have a blazer, come in and wear your blazer. Yeah. Because I know it's some formalities. Yeah. And we want everyone to come and not be immediately looked at.
Exactly.
I know you're not
stand out. You're an alien in a sense.
But what I will say is walk in there with confidence.
Yeah. Exactly.
I walk in there with confidence every day. Yeah. And every day I'm looked at as if I'm not supposed to be there. But I'll be dressed to the nines. Hey. And that don't change nothing. They look at me still with my heels on and everything and ask me. And somebody asked me, like, who are you here with? Yeah. And I work there.
Right. Do you belong here? Yeah. Stuff like that.
And so I don't want anyone to feel like they're not supposed to be there. We need to be ushering in people every day that never been there before.
So speaking of, that's awesome. Well said. Do y'all offer tours?
Yes.
All right.
Yes. So, and if y'all want to contact me personally to get a tour, I don't mind. Hey. But at the same time, y'all can contact the Ohio StateHouse to get a tour. They do tours, I believe, every day. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? If a group of us want to go and do a tour, don't, you know what I'm saying, just come in ready to do it. It's going to be, of course, like I think maybe every hour or whatever. But I think that this is something that if you live in the state of Ohio and you're able to get there, why not? You know what I'm saying? This is something. This is the people's house.
Hey, people say that again.
People's house. This is the taxpayer dollars. Yeah. Goes to the upkeep of this building. Yeah. And to the people that are in the building. 100%. And so for us as taxpayers, and we've been here, maybe our families have been here for X amount of years. Right. We deserve to be in there. Exactly. And as a black person, I brought my family there. Yeah. I brought my mama, my brother. Yeah. Well, these are people we ain't never been. I've been to StateHouse when I was in high school. Yeah. But ain't never been to StateHouse before. Right. Took them a session. We sat up there in the gallery and seen it and described what was going on because we deserve that. Yeah, you know
that's knowledge.
In the
power.
very least,
that's power.
It needs to be in there because they're making the decisions for everybody in the state.
Yeah, with or without us.
With or without us.
Yeah, and that's what's crazy. A lot of them have no idea what decisions they're making, for people that they have no idea that, because, they never even had the opportunity to speak to her or, given the chance. Like, there's a lot of people that, I feel like medicinally that can benefit from, well, we're going to get to that. Cannabis. But that's another part of the conversation. We're almost there. But, yeah, it's just crazy to hear. I appreciate your perspective and sharing because it is so important that our presence is felt more and there and known and just people use their voice. Don't be afraid. You don't have to have the perfect speech. You're not.
I think that's the biggest thing though, because when I worked for my previous rep, I remember a meeting that we had with somebody, and they said, we're not to say we're so afraid, but we're intimidated. Yeah. We don't feel like we're up to what y'all got going on. Right. We're not going to speak in the language that y'all speaking in. And I felt almost so bad because when I talk to people, I try to talk like myself. You know what I'm saying? I don't try to do all the extra stuff. I talk, in complete sentences, but some people would be like, I don't talk like that. I can't come there. Yeah. Please do not feel like you have to be like that. Yeah. They will make you submit your testimony beforehand. Correct. But that's just to make sure, they know what you're going to say. Yeah, they want to have an idea. Yeah, they want to have an idea and, respect to them. Yeah. And so make sure that if you want to go and testify, you submit yourself 24 hours in advance. Let's follow the rules. Yeah. Let's not give anybody any reason to say nah, we're not gonna let y'all come in.
Yeah.
Because who's to say that we'll be willing anyway?
Correct.
Well, let's follow the rules. Let's submit our testimony and come in there, take a deep breath, and just go.
Yeah.
Because if you need me, I'm gonna be there. I'm like, y'all got it.
Yeah.
I promise you got it.
100%. I believe that. Like she said, believe in yourself, come in there with confidence, and you know, if you come in with a group too, y'all believe in each other. But more is power. I mean, like unity and more of us together is powerful in that StateHouse. So,
and honestly, I think
figure that out.
The biggest thing is that's what our ancestors would have wanted.
Yeah.
Like our ancestors did a lot more with a lot less.
That's so true.
We got a lot more, and we're not doing nothing.
Yeah, ain't doing
You know
enough.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So let's take this little inch and let's run a mile.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Get them speeches wrote, get whatever you need, get the little statement or whatever, and just get out there. Because I promise you, once you get up there, bullet points. It doesn't have to be anything ran through any type of like Grammarly or whatever. Right. Come off of your heart.
Yep.
What God said, speak off of what God put in you.
Say it with your chest.
Say it with your chest and keep it pushing.
Keep it pushing. No, but speaking of that, prior to moving to Columbus and just in general, you were from the Northeast area or Northeast Ohio area. I almost said Columbus area. Bedford, or do you want to, Cleveland, whatever? Yeah. Shout out to that.
Shout out to Northeast Ohio.
Like, what were you up to in your hometown area before coming to Columbus?
Well, shout out to Bedford. Born and raised in Bedford, Ohio. I was in the house a little bit. Okay. I wasn't doing too much.
No, all right.
But like very involved in my school.
Yeah. Education.
Education. Very involved, like sports. Extracurricular. I was on varsity golf.
Oh,
I was
still got the golf skills.
I got the golf skills still. Meet me at Top Golf.
She said meet me at Top Golf.
But like any club, I was either on the team or like on the group or like the president of the group. I was the senior class president.
Oh, okay, man. Did you do you did the political stuff at?
I wasn't too political yet. I wasn't too political there, but like I didn't realize what I was doing was kind of leading up to it. Yeah. Like we were the first class that the students read the names at graduation.
I got you.
And so, like, we had a lot of people who had unique names. Yeah. When you have a unique name, we didn't have the principal say our names. Our principal was the one shaking our hand when we got the diploma. Yeah. And so, it was another principal that never really even met us that would say our name.
If you had a plot twist happen and, politics was not, where you went with your career in life, what else, or is there another passion you think that you would be considering or open to?
I think it's interesting because if anything, politics might be like my little side gig. Yeah. When I went to school, like if you would have known me in like high school, and like even my parents to this day say like Lauren is going to law school. Lauren is a lawyer. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So like I plan to in the next few years go to law school. And politics was my detour. Yeah. Because to be honest, I was like, let me see what I can do, make a little bit of money, you know what I'm saying, without getting into too much debt. Right. And so I do plan to take the, I'm taking the LSAT now and to be able to go to law school in like the next like year or two. But I wanted to see ultimately how impactful I could be. Yeah. And so my thought was, like, let's think about it. A lawyer, what do? They take like what they learned and they react to laws that are already there. Mm-hmm. And they're like fighting to get like a system. Right. And so I'm sitting here like, well, I got not to say the system at my fingertips, but like I'm immersed in the system. Right. Like what could I do to impact that? You know what I'm saying? Whether that be positive, hopefully, and not negative at all. Right. But like be able to say like, I'm working with these reps. I'm able to bring my life experience, my family's life experience, the people that I love and know, and be able to say like, like that isn't negative. Right. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if all they need is an opportunity, like stuff like that. Like, oh, we need to put more money into DRC because these community rehabilitation programs are doing good in the community. You know what I'm saying? Let's not say that halfway houses need to be in a certain area because they need to be in specific areas so that they can reach the most people. Like I'm here for that lived experience to say like, this is worthy for us to care. Yeah. And so like, I'm excited that I've had this experience to be so influential. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
dope, right? Yeah, and I mean, and that's embracing, your power without like, not even like abusing it. It's just like living it. So,
Living in it.
living
Look,
in
I
it.
picked the card that God placed on me. I wasn't arguing with it.
So.
I wasn't arguing with it.
I just went with
I
the
went
flow.
with the flow. God gave me this. He lobbed me this ball, and I shot it.
Alley-oop.
And I ain't mad. You know what I'm saying?
Yup. No, that's what's up. So, no, what advice would you provide for any like future young, political perspective or a youth? I should say.
The advice I would give any young person, it doesn't matter what industry you want to go into. You can even want to go and play ball. Like, I support you.
Hey.
But what I will say is, just know you need a plan. Like, I have younger cousins, and I tell them, you can do anything that you want to do. And I mean that. I don't think that we're told that enough.
Yeah, that's so true. Hey, say that again. Can you say that again?
You can do anything. And everything that you want to do.
Yeah.
Period. It's just identifying what it is.
Correct.
And then making a plan. Yeah. Because where I'm at right now, I never even knew this was a position. Like, and that's not to sound ignorant or nothing.
Right.
But it's just because sometimes we are not aware of certain things as Black folks.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, when I thought of politics, I really thought of the state rep, the state senator, and the governor. Right. I didn't think it was like the aide or like, you know what I'm saying, like just the administrative staff. Right. I didn't think about the policy advisor. As we started with, I didn't know none of that stuff. And so, like, thank God that I came here to see that this is an option for me. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? And I want everyone to understand, you can do whatever you want to do. Yeah. Them little nerds or whoever, even if you don't know your niche right now, you'll find it eventually. But when it comes to you and it calls you, don't run away from it because you don't think you're going to make no money or because no one's supporting you. You have to think about yourself. You have to understand that there's a lane for you. And even if you don't see anybody there before you, you can make that lane. I didn't know anybody that's doing what I'm doing now. Right. But I'm doing it and I'm helping other people to get to where I'm at now because I see the value in that. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, and that's kind of, even on, my side of things, because it's definitely time to make this transition anyway. But as far as I'm learning to get involved with politics because it's not just about cannabis. Don't get me wrong. That's what brought me to the StateHouse. Yeah. Yes, but there's other issues and other important like local issues or developments that we need to pay attention to.
Yeah. So let's just say this: there's something for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like Rev Gerald's had something even for people with like sickle cell.
I have sickle cell.
Really?
Yeah, I need to holler at him.
You know you do. So he has a bill that would be in just updating the sickle cell laws because the sickle cell laws were established in the 20s.
Jesus.
Yeah.
1920.
1920.
What?
There's a lot of laws that are out to date. Jesus. And that we're just trying to get a little bit more. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And just to update and say, like, maybe, you know what I'm saying, with modern technology, we should be able to make a registry or to be able to serve you guys a little bit better. Yes. It's plenty of stuff.
That's outdated.
It's outdated.
So outdated. I'm not to go deep in the rabbit hole, but I'm just curious how he even discovered that. What made him, that's interesting. I definitely want to talk to him more about that.
Yeah, and I would love to connect you. I'm not going to put the story out there, business out there, but there was a councilman's wife who has sickle cell that he's good friends with. Yeah. And they were getting into how, now if you have sickle cell and you're going into a crisis and you go to the ER, they will look at you as if you're drug seeking.
100%. I've said that numerous times. That's part of my story in this Courage and Cannabis book.
Yeah.
My sister, she lives in Florida now, but unfortunately, she was definitely a victim of that, and myself too. Sometimes. Yeah. That's kind of why I look at the hospital like a jail almost, like medical jail. Sadly, just because how many times I've been, or not just me, but I've seen other people treated wrong, but. Especially when you have a condition that you can't see.
And you can't get the treatment that you so deserve.
Yeah, and they'll make you wait hours just in pain. Like that's why I be having to too. You got really, not just me, but I'm sure anybody would have to time it up if they want to really go to the ER. Or thank God though, sometimes to some people they offer the I'm drawing a blank on it right now, but there's another in-house
like urgent care?
Yeah, urgent care, but it's strictly for people with sickle cell because they kind of
Well, that's good.
Yeah, they
that.
starting to have that, and
Yeah.
they don't have it at every facility though, and that's what they do need that resource everywhere because there's a lot of people with sickle cell that can't get treatment. I remember I went to hospital of Riverside and they couldn't treat sickle cell. They didn't know how to treat it.
Yeah.
So they sent me to OSU. Like,
and so that's part of it. It's like to make sure that there's training.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because what we learned in just our research developing the bill is that if, you know, a nurse going through nursing school, if at their like residency, if there's not a person that happens to come up with sickle cell, they wouldn't have that as like something that they would learn because it's so quote unquote rare.
Yeah.
And so like it would be now not a mandate, but it would have some sort of requirement for like a, you know, a training program for sickle cell, so that no matter if in your residency program and you interacted with somebody while you were learning, you were able to identify like, this is how I best serve you. You know what I'm saying? This is how to understand that. But I think like the biggest thing was they're not drug seeking. They're in pain. And I went and did the research. Like when I tell you it was hours in like days that I was just seeing, you know what I'm saying? I was just reading. And to read, you can't understand the pain that you all are going through. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like it was definitely crazy just to see that that's what you all are going through and it's not supports there. And so you have a rep that's trying to do that.
Have you seen shout out to the rep Gerald, am I saying it right? Gerald's, sorry. Rep Gerald's. God, my
it's like once you learn it wrong, it's hard. It's hard to relearn it. But yeah, Rep Gerald's.
Rep Gerald's. Shout out to him and you know, all the supporters of sickle cell and the sickle cell warriors out there. It's no joke. But I don't know if you watch documentaries. There is a very powerful one. I'll send it to you. It's called Spilled Milk. It's on YouTube actually, but unfortunately, one of the guys in it, he passed away.
Wow.
But it's a it's so powerful documentary to help, like, you know, understand awareness and just quality of life behind someone using it. I've tried to reach out to some of the people, and I don't know, like, don't get me wrong. Like I said, this is part of the transition of this conversation anyway, but I'm an advocate for sickle cell 100%, but I'm also an advocate for cannabis. And reason why is because I feel like I've had a way better quality of life using the plant. And in different forms, don't get me wrong. When people hear cannabis or weed, all you do is smoke. That's not all I do, but there's other forms. You can ingest it, eat it.
Yeah.
Vape carts, dry herb vapes, topicals, patches. There's so many forms, and we're all continuing to learn different ways. You know, I give tours at my job that I work at and show people how it's done and made. Yourself or any of your team is welcome to if they ever want to kind of get another side or science side of the industry and plant. But basically, my point was, I feel like, we just have to communicate and be more open with our sales, with our family, and our doctors. The more I've been honest to my physician, she's been, helpful and just supportive of even me using the plant rather than relying on opioids. And I've been able to, definitely only rely on those for emergency purposes only, and to like maybe preventative measure to not go to the hospital.
That's good.
And that kind of like I said, that's leads me to my next question. Like, far as cannabis legalization, like, what are your thoughts, man? It's like, do you like, or is that like something that like you can not discuss?
I mean, for me, so I think that, like I said, I preface by saying that all thoughts are of my own. It's not reflective of my job or the institution of the Ohio House. Much love to them. It is legal by the state. That's not my thing. That's what the state did. And so 57% of Ohioans went out and voted in favor of, legal recreational and medicinal use. And I support it because, I mean, like, my mom had a bad fall. And she was not like any type of smoker at all. But, I got her a topical. And I just want her to try it because she doesn't want to do the opioids. No one wants to be reliant on a medication like that, especially considering that Ohio as well as other states are in an opioid crisis.
Right. Epidemic.
And so she doesn't want to be relying on that.
Yeah.
And so I said, you know what, let's see. And so I gave her a topical, and it actually helped.
See, I believe that. 100%.
It actually helped. In like it brought tears to my eyes because my mom woke up multiple times in the night just like in pain. You know what I'm saying? It's like that pain you can't do nothing with.
Right.
It's like that internal burn.
100%. I get that.
And so, you know, just to see that relief, I was happy to see that.
Yeah.
You know, I have friends that use it recreationally, medically. You know, like I had a friend of mine like years ago that, you know, got me hip to it. In college I met him and he worked as a bud tender.
Oh, okay.
And so I got hip to like the terps and all of those different things, and I learned the medicinal properties.
Yeah.
And you know, it's crazy because everything, of course, in Ohio, not Ohio, but like in the U.S. is based off of like slavery and stuff like that.
Right.
And the criminalization of the plant is a reaction of slavery.
Yep.
And so, you know, like until we uncover those roots, we might never get, you know, super far. But it is a plant, and it's something that we should not be running against because it's natural and it's not an opioid, it's not crack.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? This is nothing like fentanyl. When fentanyl is killing people.
Exactly.
I get notifications every day about these new drugs that have a hint of this. You know, like when I was in college, I did a ride along with the police, and I did my senior project with the police, and I was with the narcotics unit.
Damn.
And they didn't talk about marijuana. You want to know? They were talking about
fentanyl.
They were talking about fentanyl and how that was like a you know, an elephant tranquilizer. That's the strength of it.
Jesus.
I'm 130 pounds.
Yeah, that could be damn fatal. Yeah,
an elephant is a ton.
Yeah.
And so it's people ingesting stuff that's supposed to be able to subdue an elephant.
Wow.
And that's the stuff you got to think of. You know, it's taking people out, and we over here trying to criminalize a plant that at the most could have you a little hazy.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not saying there shouldn't be guardrails with it, and maybe it should maybe be a DUI, whatever the case may be. But don't over criminalize it. But what I will say is, and I've always been a strong proponent of this, is if you're gonna legalize it, everybody that has a non-violent drug offense needs to be out of prison.
100%.
Period. If the sentence was non-violent, I know sometimes they have, like, you know, some people be murdering people and do all that stuff in addition to. But if it is a non-violent drug offense,
see, that's well said.
They need to get out. Yeah. And there are strides that Ohio is trying to do for expungement. Right. And that's what we need to stay tuned to see. Like, how is it going to go? Do I have to ask the court to expunge my record, or is it automatic? Those are the things that's happening at the state level, and people need to be able to come out and say, you know, I wouldn't want to be able to, I shouldn't have to come and say that I should have to get my stuff off the record, or I don't mind.
Correct.
I'll come to the courthouse on whatever day and fill out whatever form. Like, that's valid. And more power to everybody. But I think it's the fact that we are all in the process. It shouldn't be made in a closed door. You know what I'm saying? With people that might not have that lived experience.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? I have family, and I have over like 20 first cousins. Who's to say what they all did?
Exactly.
And it's not for me to judge. But it's for me to support and for me to let them know and educate.
Like, how they can get better.
Let's get right. Come on, let's get right.
Well said. I got a dad. He got in trouble for paraphernalia charges, and to this day, it still affected his life. I mean, he's done other things, but that was just, you know, the start of the pigeonhole, and it just got worse. But it's messed up. You kind of answered my next question because you mentioned it already. Cannabis definitely has, you know, medicinal benefits. I think we're just still learning as more research is allowed to be done, and as you know, time goes on and more states continue to legalize it. In this industry, you see the term tossed around so much, and I'm just curious to know your opinion of what do you think social equity means, and how do you? I mean, is there a way that we can revive it, or I guess properly insert it into the industry, or the cannabis industry in general? It's not just the state of Ohio, but I guess in general, because it seems to be lacking everywhere.
It does. I think that my biggest thing that I would urge people to do is advocate. I don't think we have enough people on the ground floor, you know what I'm saying, in the roles that you and so many dispensaries and the folks that you touch every day. Y'all need to be at the StateHouse. Y'all need to be advocating. And if, social equity is something that we all see, and as a need, we need it. You know what I'm saying? And I believe because, like I said, if y'all are not going to expunge automatically folks that had those non-violent drug offenses, the social equity programs are needed because, so many black and brown people, through the war of drugs were, put in prison and their lives were set back 15, 20, whatever years.
Right.
And it's nothing that we can do that would take that back.
Correct.
But I think that if there's jobs and there's money put circulating in these areas for these groups of people, I think it would be good.
Yeah.
I don't understand why it wouldn't happen, but that's not, I guess, necessarily for me to understand. But I think it's for the people to advocate for.
Right.
If that's something that the people want to do, let's not sit on our behinds. Because if we look and say, local control, and that money that these local governments that have a dispensary, they fought for local control to get back in.
Correct.
And it might get back in.
Right.
And that's because they fought. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And they have that economic argument.
Correct.
Because they are bringing millions of dollars into these areas.
Yeah.
And so why shouldn't these millions of dollars be circulating in certain communities?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And so I think it's that connective tissue.
Yeah.
I think that we wouldn't have one without the other, and the other is us.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the fact that without these different things, it might not have gotten this far.
Right.
How many black people went to the polls? Out of that 57%, if there was a study to say, and I could probably come in like a week.
Right.
I could come tomorrow with the number of the black people
right.
that came out for issue 2 because I worked the polls. Mm-hmm. And I seen so many people that I didn't see the year before.
Damn.
And it was because of issue 2.
Yeah.
Shout out to them.
Yeah, shout out to
them because
it was a dominantly one issue, and the people spoke loud and clear.
Yeah,
no pun intended.
For but for that, and then issue 1 was abortion that same year, and so it was a year of people just like exercising their rights.
Yeah.
But I don't want people to think that it stops there.
Right.
It doesn't stop with one election.
Nah, not at all.
We have an election May 6th, and I don't know if people even know it's a primary election, and there's one thing on the ballot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's is that for the cannabis?
It's not for cannabis. It's about like local infrastructure.
Okay.
And so like how there's like potholes and all these different things.
Cities development and
the city,
which is important.
Money. Yeah, and so it's for like I think like over $2 million. For like the local cities to be able to do what they need to do, and that's on the ballot. You know.
And no, and it's not. I mean. It's not, well, I can't say it's not being talked about, but it's just like most common folks probably don't even know. Yeah. See? And that's, I don't know, we just kind of, it's almost like you got to bookmark the House of Representative page, is what I'm starting to hear, where you just got to stay on top of your local politics, or it's going to politic you. Wait, you said it that way.
It said, because if you don't do politics is gonna do you.
No,
that's the one.
And that's well said. So like we almost coming to a close, but I got a few more questions for you. I'm just curious, like, because there's a lot of, especially, and we still like kind of remaining around this cannabis industry. This is a very hot topic and subject right now. Like there's many perspectives and voices to be heard and opinions to be heard, all that. But what would you say, or I guess advise, to your best of knowledge, for someone that's like not necessarily involved working in the industry, but they're from afar, whether it's just watching at home or paying attention to everything, and they're either not active or they're just kind of like patiently waiting to figure out the best way to be active. Mm-hmm. Would you still say it's best to just like, either write a letter or actually get down there and show up?
I ain't gonna lie. If you can get down there, please do. Like, I'm being dead serious.
Yeah,
if you have the time and you're 9 to 5 to come out to the Ohio StateHouse, please do. Mm-hmm. I think it's truth to power, it's truth to numbers, but I think that there's that base level of respect that's given when you come and you orate meaning you speak. You know what I'm saying? Because you can submit written testimony.
Mhm.
So don't think that if you're not able to and you got your 9 to 5, respect to you, because some people can't. You know what I'm saying? If you're coming from Cleveland, you might not be able to drive up
Right.
on a Tuesday at 9:30 or whatever the time may be. And so submit that 24 hours before for your chair to read, and they can talk and distribute that to the other members. That's perfectly fine. But I always tell people, if you can get down there, please do. We love to see people in person, and it's just a different weight. It's a different gravity that you can give with your lived experience, and we can hear your voice. We can hear it shake. We can hear you yell. We can hear you cry. You know what I'm saying? That's not given in whatever your written testimony is.
Right.
And so I would say do that. But then even too, let's say you missed a testimony. Make sure that you identify who your rep is.
Yeah.
Identify who your senator is.
That's so true.
I think that that's important, because you can be in a consistent contact with that person, whether it's about this cannabis stuff or it's in your day-to-day. You know, they deal with stuff, if it's about, you know what I'm saying, not even just like, you know, food stamps or like Medicaid or like, you know, I don't know where to go with this benefit.
Right.
If you have any issue, I know somebody that reached out because they were having an issue with their apartment complex, you know, someone that was having an issue with the city, or someone that was having an issue with this. Please reach out to your state rep, because that's what they're there for.
That's their job.
That's their job. Taxpayer dollars go to it. And I want people to understand that we have the power to not command them, but to ask them to help us, you know?
Exactly. In a respectful way. And that's, I mean, you want anybody, I guess, to treat you the way you want to be treated. And it's the thing is just like, I mean, the way it kind of, just to simplify, is be confident in communicating what you want with your local senators or state reps or lawmakers, you know.
Just like
policy advisors. Anybody that is in the StateHouse, like, kind of just whatever you feel like is an issue you want to discuss or maybe heard, it's definitely possible to figure out a way to be heard by going to the StateHouse.
Mm-hmm.
And I've actually can definitely vouch that, because I've been able to, and I'm doing it this year again. I'm blessed to go out on a national level and like advocate for cannabis out in DC, and it's interesting to just see all the different like what do you call it, agendas or issues people are out there to like accomplish or argue, you know, stand for or protest for. And it's like, it really just took a group of people coming together and, you know, deciding this is what we all agree on this, and, you know, we're going to advocate for this in a uniform way, and, you know, do our best to get what we want done. And that's on national levels and local levels. You can get that done by just coming together, putting the egos to the side, all the emotions, and just look at the bigger picture.
Yeah, look at the bigger picture.
Nah, but so like, all right, you kind of like said a disclaimer a bit earlier. Now I'm kind of saying one for myself, as far as like, you know, industry worker and just like being involved in other ways though in the industry and trying to like use my voice. There's definitely, it's just like, you know, my personal opinion on a lot of the episodes and discussions we have, including this one. But like, I do feel like in a lot of ways, there's some workers that are afraid to speak up and use their voice just because of retaliation or some type of like, you know, punishment for speaking the real truths or their truths. And in my opinion, I think that's the most and best thing you can do is just speak your truths more than anything. And I'm you know, I appreciate you for doing that, and I'm doing my best to continue to do that myself and just embrace it, but trying to help others do that as well, because, you know, in this industry we've seen a lot and gone through a lot, still dealing with a lot, even waiting for our like laws to be officially dropped. It's kind of in limbo. But like, how the same way you just kind of confidently came on here and just answered and embraced things, how would you advise that to someone else in this my industry, or really any industry? Because like you have to, like, I guess, you know, the media is very powerful, but you have to do your best still to speak and live in your truth.
That's true. I mean, like, as far as like issue 2, as far as like cannabis is concerned in the state of Ohio, the law is the law. It passed. issue 2 passed. And so you really have to just, in your like local area, your apartment complex, you know what I'm saying? Those are the rules that you need to pay attention to. I know I was told, one of my good friends, their apartment complex, they sent out a notice, no smoking, period. So like no even tobacco. And so if you have a complex like that, don't think that just because issue 2 is legal that you can smoke in your complex.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe go to your car, but don't go driving because that can be considered you a DUI.
Yeah.
And so it's just good to know.
Yeah.
They're trying to, I think that what they were trying to before was to regulate marijuana as they did alcohol.
Yeah.
And so you've seen, I think when it first passed, like last year, there was a patio. I think there was like a restaurant that did like a little patio and they had like the little vibes.
Right.
And they said that they could do it on the grounds that they had alcohol being served on the patio.
Yeah.
And so like it was able to do that. But that was a private establishment.
Correct.
You couldn't walk down the street and smoke it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So those are the nuances you have to understand.
Yeah, there's levels to
it's
it.
definitely levels to it, but it's not to say and to scare anybody to say like you can't do it. It's honestly knowing like where and when. You know what I'm saying? Be on your property. You know, if you own a home, you know what I'm saying? If it's your vehicle, and you're in a set, if you're parked up, but then don't move because as soon as you move, you're in motion. Correct. And then the police can get you. And so it's just really being able to understand like those differences. But it's just knowing, be safe, but do your due, because like I said, 57% of Ohioans voted for this. Right. It's something that the state has to work out, and they're planning to. Yeah. And so with House Bill 160, we should see whether it moves in one direction versus the other. If the taxes increased, or if it's an increased penalty, or whatever the vibe is, or whatever the law is. Yeah. We'll move from there. Correct. But until that point, I think it's just understanding to be safe wherever you're at. Yep. If you are going to indulge in cannabis, whether it be, in an edible, in a topical, in a flower, whatever the case may be, pre-roll, however you indulge, be safe. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Be safe, because because it's legal does not mean that, every law enforcement agency or whomever is going to regulate you is going to be on the same page, because I don't think that they have a unified standard. And they
don't even have you're right. They don't have a unified understanding. Exactly.
They don't know how they're going to stop people, or how they're going to check people, and
how they can properly embrace it. Yeah, they're still asking questions. I was just at a dispensary and had a trooper come in and was asking questions about the procedures, just trying to get a double, I guess there was someone that got in an accident, and he was coming there to get information about that person, and happened to ask about the industry. Just like, see, they're still learning themselves, and like you said, it definitely just depends on the officer too. Sometimes whether they're informed, they're also their perspective and opinion of the plant, and just a whole nother situation. But what's more important too, though, I feel like, is, if at all possible, it's best to have your medical cards for a lot of people to be safe on so many levels. Yes. And then on top of that, just be willing and open to learn more about everything. I will say, it also sounds like you definitely believe healing with plants is a possibility. Well, you mentioned your grandmother using the topicals, so that's a cool story. I feel like I've seen myself personally, and I'm still trying to figure it out and help her figure it out with my sister. But I know cannabis can help a lot of people with a better quality of life, and just uplift them. So I want to just give a shout out to anybody out there embracing the plant in that way, and proudly acknowledging that, and you're using it in moderation, obviously, but this plant has helped change my life in so many ways. And there's also people, whether you use it or not, for medicine, but there's people making business money off of it. So the plant is very beneficial in so many ways. And knowledge is power. And we want to continue to make sure we spread that and know that. And that's pretty much all I have. But if there's anything else that you want to mention or say, I would definitely allow you to have the floor and say so. Make sure people know how to follow you and contact you as well. But again, I appreciate your time and this conversation. It's been dope, and we, obviously willing to have more if there's other topics or anything we didn't cover. We can definitely further discuss.
Look, I don't mind coming back. I guess I had the people ask for me back.
There you go. No, for sure.
But like I said, you can follow me on The Elephant in the Room. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok primarily. And I'll be on Facebook a little bit. But it is at TheEeLof. Well,
There you go.
PH instead of the F. So let me start over.
Yeah,
So it is @ TheElopHant in the room, spelled out IN the room. You can follow me. Like I said, I try to talk like how I talk. Like I try to keep it conversational. I pride myself on digestible politics and pop culture and policy, because I don't think that you should be pushed out of any room based off of your level of knowledge.
Yep.
And I'm able to talk to everybody in my family, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
About whatever's going on, and they're able to understand me.
And that's awesome. See, and that's how you all win, and I think further, grow and just develop together. Because if everybody's, the more you know, the more you do better. I feel like so.
Yep.
It's better to like uplift everybody so that everybody can, be in a better situation.
Yeah, I think Fabulous said that. If you knew better, you do better.
FABOLOUS. Nah, LO, you hear that? LO. No, we gonna end it on that note though. The LO.
The elephant in the room.
Yo, times between the Budz.
Yeah.
Drunk Eric checking out
The
y'all.
lowdown, extra lowdown in between the Budz.
Shout out Awsom Studios. We appreciate y'all for the support and creative space. And remember, we're all just Budz growing. We're out. Peace.